Air Force One fueling up for Florida again, but instead of hitting the links tomorrow, the president's teeing up for jobs first. Florida Governor Rick Scott says, well, he's in the right state to do that because job creation has indeed been happening in his state. The governor joins me now. Governor, good to have you.
Neil, we're glad the president's coming, but he's a little late to come and visit one of our ports. As you know, the federal government's not been funding their portion of our port structure, our port construction, and so Florida taxpayers have been doing it. We've gotten a lot done. Just at the port he's going to, Port of Miami, they were supposed to put up $75 million. They didn't. So he's a little late, but I'm glad he's going to come down and hopefully brag about our significant turnaround here in the state where unemployment's dropped faster than any state but one, and in a little over 2 years we've generated around 300,000 private sector jobs.
He seems to be working more on behalf of a guy who hasn't announced he's running for your job but had your job, Charlie Crist. What do you think of that?
Well, here's what I think. The 4 years before I became governor, the state lost 832,000 jobs. Unemployment tripled from 3.5 to 11.1%. Like the federal government, the state borrowed a lot of money, $5.2 billion, and housing collapsed. In 2 years, it's a big change. A staggering contrast. 300,000 private sector jobs have been created. Unemployment went from 11.1 to 7.8%. Hopefully, we'll have a good numbers for February tomorrow. So it's a dramatic turnaround against the prior 4 years and my first 2 years in office.
Well, no, there's no doubt that things are improving there. You don't seem to be getting a lot of the advantage you would think that a sitting governor would for that, at least in polls. That could change. You and I talked about that before, Governor. But now out of the blue, you get criticized by Alan West, the former congressman, who says by expanding Medicaid in your state, you have effectively sort of given up the ghost. Quoting him, he said, I think when you say that you're going to stand up to something, then you kind of back off. There are a number of Republicans who did this sort of thing. It's kind of making people question, really, where's your backbone? What do you think about what he's saying?
Well, Neil, think about it. I was the first one that started running national ads to try to make sure we had the right health care program, a free market program, and I fought Obamacare. I was the first one to run national ads.
Well, that's why he's saying it's all the more ironic that you end up endorsing what is a federal expansion of Medicaid.
Well, here's what happened, though. The law passed. The Supreme Court upheld it. Governor Romney lost the election last fall. So now we're in a situation where our taxpayers are paying for it. So I can't in good conscience say, while the federal government pays 100% of it, deny Floridians access to health care. So I'm going to work my best to do the right thing with health care. But look, I want to make sure our citizens get as much coverage as they can.
So you don't feel that you were kind of placed in a box on that? You were in a no-win situation?
Well, Neil, here's what I do. I make the best decision I can, but you know what Florida families care about? Jobs, jobs, jobs. Improving education for their kids. And that's why I'm so focused on making sure every Floridian has the opportunity for a job and their families have the opportunity to make sure their children get a great education.
Real quickly on real estate, Governor, we were talking to a couple of real estate experts say Florida is turning around. Are you buying this turnaround? Are you nervous that it doesn't last? Of course, many look at you. Florida as having been the ground zero of that, right? What do you think happened?
Oh, Neil, you better hurry up and buy your house. Home prices are up. Home construction's up. New home construction's up. Consumer confidence is up. So we are heading the right direction. Okay. We have more tourists in our state than ever. Exports are up. We're doing the right thing here, and we have had a big turnaround. Hey, Neil, I have an ad up right now. I want to make sure Governor Perry knows that we're going to be the #1 place. We're going to learn to brag.
That's right. You guys are competing to get those jobs. Okay. Thank you.
And we're
winning.
Thank you,
Governor. We'll see. Thank you, sir.